All right, so we're a little late to the party with this episode 3, Mousetrap. Usual excuses. So we got to it when we could. All right, so we have Tabitha. She is at Vic's dad's house, and he has a bottle tree in the backyard. And she's like, let me go check this out. And then he's like, that's not the real one. The real one's in a park. And she's like, well, we got to go to that one.
Yep.
And they're trying to go there.
They
and then she
are.
finds this bracelet. And she's like, nah.
She starts losing it. She starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. I think she has like a moment of very a strong sense of unreality in that moment.
Yeah.
Because it's the exact bracelet that she made and gave to her husband.
Yeah.
And just previously, like right when they get in the car, their song starts playing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of coincidences happening all at once. And so she kind of starts freaking out. And she's like, I'm going to leave. And Victor's dad is like, no way. And then they get into a car accident.
Yeah. This actually reminded me a lot, that moment, of the X-Files episode from season 6 called Field Trip, where Mulder and Scully are in some kind of drug-induced coma from this plant. It's a tree, much like this tree that they're trying to go to, and they continue to keep being like tricked into believing they've gotten out of it. And you really think they're out of it in the end, and then they're like, no, this is too far.
Yeah.
Like, you would never say that. This is one step too far. And the same thing happens here. She finds the bracelet and is like, okay, I was willing to take this to its conclusion here with you, but this is one step too far. Now, this ultimately leads her back. Now, is she right? I don't know. I mean, she tries to get out of the car and he forces her to stay in the car and then drives her into a very convenient accident that then puts her in a vulnerable state to which she can't get out of. And then from what it looks like, she's going to be taken back to Fromville with the EMTs.
That's the big ending of the episode.
Is Victor's dad part of it? Because right now he looks to be in the EMT says, he's having some complications, but we're getting him through it. He needs to get to a hospital. Now, if they really do take this road, I'm sure Tabitha's going to freak out. She's going to be like, they're probably going to try to like sedate her. Yeah. Right. And then they're going to just take that road, and that's going to lead them into the town, which would bring them medical aid. They'd have an ambulance with whatever drugs they have on board. They'd have a few more EMTs, so they'd have more medical staff there. Mm-hmm. This would suck for them since they all have lives and they probably don't want to go there.
Yeah, it would be good for everybody else in Fromville.
But they're, what I'm getting at is that Victor's dad, she's thinking he's a plant. She's thinking that he is part of their plan, whatever he may be, some entity that's trying to lead her back there or whatever. And so she comes back in with them and he dies conveniently. He's not really there to prove to Victor that he is actually his father when he's dead. Now, he might physically look like him, but my point is that when she freaks out and is like, you took it too far, I'm out of here. What if I try to leave? What if I don't play along with your game? Yeah. He forces her to stay. Right. Gets in an accident and then goes there and is potentially dying, and without hospitalization probably is going to die. That makes me wonder, right? Mm-hmm. That leaves it a huge question mark of like, did she kill him? Mm-hmm. And then the town's just bringing her back anyways? Because if she just went to the park, would there have been an opening in that tree that she could have walked through with him, and then they ended up there? But then when she was going to run off, because that was the plan, right, is to bring his dad there.
Well, yeah, but it makes me more think that, like, whatever the powers that be didn't want her to get to the tree. That's more what I think. I don't think that Victor's dad is like a plant or in on it at all. I think that that's just a moment of her having some paranoia, which is, makes total sense.
But what's the
that she would
tree
have.
gonna do?
I don't know. Maybe
Other than bring her back there.
But maybe the tree, maybe they like can activate it on that side and then be able to go in and out, like so people could leave potentially.
How do you activate a tree?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like maybe there was
Pull
something
an
that could have
acorn.
happened, right? Like he says that that's where it all started, and she seems to have a connection to his wife. So maybe something could have happened if she had gone there, and there's some powers preventing her from getting there.
My feeling is that they're meant to go back.
He
was driving her to the tree. They were gonna go back, and when she tried to be like, "No, never mind. I'm not playing this game," they made a car hit them, and then an ambulance take them.
So no matter what, they would have gone back.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean that's also possible too. I could definitely see that.
But you think the end game is getting to that tree, and they prevented her from doing it.
It's an idea that.
But she's the one that
I also see what you're
purposely
saying.
freaked out, right? It wasn't that they just got hit by a car randomly. She had to distract him enough to drive away. So I don't know.
That's a good point, though. Like maybe because she was trying to leave, so if they didn't want her to go there, but he was trying to drive her there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's interesting, though. Definitely very curious about what will happen at the beginning of the next episode with these new people.
Yeah.
Because
if they go at all, she might
think they
freak
will,
out
because she's gonna freak out, but they're not gonna believe her.
Yeah.
He's unconscious and he hasn't been there.
Yeah.
So they're just going to be like, no, we got to get you to the hospital.
Yeah.
They've already had this, like, they even have an idea of her because they're like, oh, you're the lunchbox lady.
She's going to beg and plead.
Yeah.
Right. They're not going to believe her because she escaped the hospital. And they're like, you have to go back. They're going to more than likely hold her down and sedate her.
Yeah.
As she fights back. And then when she wakes up, she's going to be back in the town with them.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the most likely scenario. Now, is it possible she gets them to turn around and not go down that road? I think it's unlikely, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Or, even another shot here is that she somehow gets them out of the car. I don't know how she could get a hold of a gun or something like that. He had a gun, right? So does he still have it on him?
No, he doesn't. He didn't even have bullets in it.
Well, he doesn't have bullets, but they don't need to know that.
Yeah, no,
so
I
if
don't
he
think he
somehow,
still
maybe
has it.
she still has it on her. I figured like they'd pat her down, but I don't know. Regardless, it's possible he has a gun on him, or she held the gun and has it in her lunchbox, or who the hell knows, and pulls it out and demands they get out of the car. Now, why would she willingly drive back into that town? I don't feel like she would. I would feel like she would be like, no,
her
turn
family's
around.
there, so that would be the.
But she's trying to get to that tree.
Yeah.
I feel like the most likely scenario is that they sedate her and they take her into town.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I can't really see anything else happening 100%.
But I thought maybe she'd pull the gun out and be like, no, get out of the car. And then she'd drive him back in there by herself so that they didn't have to go in. Like, fine, you want me to go here? Like, I'll go, but you can't have them. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's another somewhat possible scenario where she just is like, all right, fuck it. Like, I guess I'm not going to be able to, like, you're just going to roundabout me here anyway, no matter what I do. I could see her even talking them into turning around. They turn around and they hit another downed tree.
Yeah.
And it's just like the exact same downed tree, and it's like looped from there. Like they can't even get away from the downed tree.
That's what I thought, because I don't think they have to drive past the tree.
Yeah.
I think that once
That
they
they're already
hit
in
the
the
tree,
loop.
they're already there, because I think that people turn around and just go back and
But no one can get back to the downed tree.
Right.
So that seems like it's out of the loop.
You're right, it does. But I think that it's probably like wherever the down tree is, whether you go past it or behind it, you're in that. You know what I mean? Like, so you can't go back to it, but when you drive away from it in either direction, you're driving towards the town. That's what I think. But maybe not.
Maybe.
I don't remember if anybody said that they didn't drive past it. I feel like that probably happened, but I don't remember.
I feel like if you turn around,
I also think,
you don't go
like,
into the town.
Having new faces, having new people, like, it always adds to the drama of the situation, and
whether
it adds more bodies to kill, or just gives them more resources or whatever, like, I still think that that's probably, they're going to end up there. And Victor's father, whether or not he lives when he gets there, is, I think, for sure going to get there.
Well, for me, what the ambulance signifies is that she's telling the truth, that she got out.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, that's what that means.
Because it's like
and
she's
everyone
coming
in town,
with other people.
Because that's the next logical step that we have to have for, like, the character development of all the characters.
Yeah.
They have to have their next moment that makes them all believe something to change their more, like, nihilistic perspective.
Yeah, because right now a lot of them are
even
just
the
like,
kid,
we're
even
not
Ethan, is like,
well, yeah,
fuck it
and
all.
Ethan seeing his mom come back and everything, and Victor seeing his dad come back, like, that's going to give people a lot of, like, hope. And, yeah, so I think they're going to show up there.
Yes.
And then the other, like, big thing that happens, I mean, there's other stuff that happens in the episode, but the other big thing is that Chrissy gets her leg hurt, her ankle, by the bear trap. I feel like that's the other, like, big part of the episode.
I don't know how big that is. I think that I know what you're saying. Like, that's the other, like, bigger moment of drama. But ultimately, I don't think that's going to lead to anything per se. I think Jade's visions.
I think it will,
in that moment, because
it caused him to break the like
the effigy,
whatever those things are, and whatever, we don't know what they do.
Right.
We have no idea. I mean, they could, maybe breaking them helps them. Maybe it hurts them. Maybe the food goes rotten. Maybe it, I don't know. Like.
Yeah.
I definitely thought that maybe those statues were, like, making that area protected so that the food doesn't rot.
Yeah.
So but that's just an idea. Because otherwise, the rest of this episode is, you know, a lot of little things. I mean, not anything else, like, really super major happens. We get a bird that flies into the community house when they try and do a tarot reading.
Yeah, so
that's definitely interesting, but
yeah. So Tilly catches Fatima eating these rancid crops. She confronts her about it. She says, like, I can help. You know, we can see if the baby's gonna be okay. Sits down with her, you know, much to the dismay of Fatima, who's, like, trying to humor her because she's like, hey, you know, blah blah blah. And so she does, and before she can even flip over one card, she, like, does flip it over, but we never see what it is. The bird disrupts that. It purposely interrupts her findings. Right, so what does this tell us? Now, there was speculation because Tilly said that she had 7 kids, and there's 7 kids on the altars that Jade finds in the tunnels, that she has some kind of attachment to that place, is some bigger character to the overall land. So the fact that she is ultimately trying to show her something, and it is purposely disrupted by birds that, I mean, it's flying in there. It tries to get through the window once when she's trying to, like, put the cards down, and then it does come through when she starts to flip it. Like, no, like, you are not reading her tarot. I don't know why. I mean, I think they obviously there's something going on within Fatima. Yeah. Right? She's living off the land, which is decaying and rotting, and there's something growing inside of her womb that's not supposed to be able to bear life, right? Like, it's very reflective of the infertile soil. She's infertile soil. And so the rotting fruit and rotting vegetables are kind of indicative of, like, what's going on inside of her, right? She has infertile soil that's growing something that she is very unsure of if it's growing properly, like that food that she's eating. And so Tilly comes in and is like, you know, I've had 7 kids and I'm into this shit. And she reads the cards, and it's like, we don't want you to know that. Would that ultimately lead her to a decision that they don't want her to make, like an abortion, or you know, or to give her some information that's going to help her come to a different conclusion than they want her to have. So that baby has some significance to it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's the first one born there.
Of course the baby has some significance. What it will be, I don't know. Definitely right now it feels like there could be something wrong with it.
A reincarnation of like one of the tortured kids.
Maybe. Who knows? Or maybe it's one of the monsters in general. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I mean, it does feel like the tarot reading gets interrupted. Purposefully. Yeah, I did feel that way too. I think we're still going to see the cards ultimately because... Maybe not, but I feel like we will in the next episode.
You know, we have Elgen who's laying there, which is what the bird flies over to.
Yeah.
And he's the one who has the visions.
Yeah.
So maybe it's possible that, you know, because the kids kind of represent the angels, right? And then the monsters and whatever's on the phone, those are like the demons, right? So there seems to be two opposing forces fighting for their attention. And Jim is getting called by the demons, or the bad, you know, the evil, and they're trying to trick him into doing something, you know, some way or some... They're scaring him, right? And people do terrible things when they're terrified. As opposed to, I could see them sending, you know, the good, the children are trying to send in the bird to stop Tilly from telling her something that's not good for her. And that they're trying to direct her attention to Elgen, who is like the good prophet. And she's the bad prophet. Like, don't listen to her. She's going to tell you the wrong shit. She's a plant. She's the evil one, right? Yeah. That's the feeling that I get off of it, is that she's not to be trusted.
Yeah.
That the bird is like swooping in to stop her from telling her that message, not because it's a bad thing, or not because it's a good thing, but because it's a bad thing.
You've been like suspicious of her like from the beginning, I feel.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't feel that 100%, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm just speculating. Maybe irresponsibly, but I'm speculating. But I don't know. I just, when I look at that scene and I think about like the good and the evil fighting against each other, and they seem to be sending different messages to each other. Yeah. Like to different people or whatever. I don't know. That's how I read it. Now, ultimately, it could be for nothing. So yeah. I don't know. But Jade is also seeing ghosts. Yep.
He's always kind of been seeing ghosts or whatever they are. Visions of the past. I don't know.
And we also get to see a moment here where he's still in the... At least it appears that he's still seeing the ghost who's choking him. And this guy comes around the corner and sees that he's just standing there with nobody. Yeah. Right? So it is straight up only in his head.
Everybody in this episode, like, I feel like things are ramping up more and more where people are, like, seeing stuff, hearing stuff that isn't there, or that, you know, whatever. And somebody will come in and be like... And everyone's just like, I'm all right. Like, there's nothing. They're all kind of just, like, in denial, even though they've got to know everybody is having weird experiences here. It's such an impossible situation to be in. So that's why I like Tilly's, like the way she convinces her to do the tarot reading of, like, did you believe in anything that, like, exists here before you came here? Because, if you were in that situation, why not? Literally anything could be possible. I still feel like anything could be possible, but, like, especially if you're in such a crazy scenario. But... Boyd, the only, like, update on his storyline this episode for his plan to catch one of them is that he wants to stay the night in the bus. Yeah. So he can watch them and kind of form an attack plan, basically.
I mean, his attack plan, which has kind of been laid out, even though the priest ghost is telling him it's an idiotic plan, is he's going to trap him in one of the houses and then put the talisman back up. Yeah. That doesn't really seem like it works, because we've had properties that they get into with the talisman up, as long as the door's open, and like people let them in, it doesn't seem to prevent them from wreaking severe havoc while they're inside. And while they are inside, they ultimately leave.
Yeah, because didn't when they went into the barn,
they went into freaking Colony House when that guy opened up the
yeah.
window to them, and it like
Yeah.
fucked them all up, and they had talismans
Yeah,
in
but
there,
I
and they
was-
got back out with the talisman up. So I don't understand what Boyd's plan is here, because it doesn't seem to match what we've gotten in the past.
Well, what I was thinking too is just like recently though, because he puts a talisman up in the barn, but they're already in the barn, so maybe it doesn't.
It doesn't seem like
work.
it
I don't
doesn't
know.
seem
I
like
don't
it
think it
prevents
keeps them
them from
in.
leaving.
Yeah, I think it just keeps them out if they're already out.
He needs to dig a pit,
So
and he needs to lay a tarp over it, and one of them falls into it, or he spring a trap that's like out on the front doorstep when they walk up and they're trying to talk to you, and it falls over them, or something like that. Trapping them in a house with a talisman, that just seems fucking stupid. I
Yeah.
don't see how that works at all.
yeah, I don't know. Definitely curious to see what he does to trap them, because I don't know how that's gonna work. I hope we get an explanation for it, because as we've said right now, it doesn't sound like a good plan.
It's not thought through at all.
So we'll see. And then other than that, Jim kind of just gets mad at his kids.
Yeah, and he's still getting the phone
Still
calls.
getting the phone calls. He doesn't answer.
Randall
That's
also
everyone.
seeing bugs.
Yeah, those are the same. Are those not the bugs that they saw last? Didn't they see bugs
When they were like
when
in
they were
their
like
coma.
in their comas?
I don't
I thought they
remember, but
did.
maybe. Regardless, everyone's kind of losing
Yes.
it. They're
Yeah.
yeah. So something's coming.
Something is coming.
Something big is coming
Yeah.
for sure. And I mean that is pretty much it.
Yeah,
And
it's a relatively uneventful episode.
well,
Aside from the end.
yeah, the ending's pretty big.
Yeah.
But I think enough happens here.
Oh, I do too.
And,
I'm
yeah.
not complaining. I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
It
It's
is.
just we got.
We're just moving things along, setting it up more.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious about the next one, of course.
Yeah, so tell us what you think.
Yep.
But you're right about the, Jade pulling down the, the statue, the effigy, whatever the hell you want to call it. What ultimately will that lead to? Will that mean that the crops will die? Will that mean that that's like their talisman for that part of the land, and that now the evil can creep through there and destroy the crops, or to get into the buildings, and their talisman won't work in that area. It was the the little statues that prevent them and ward them off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea,
We'll see.
but yeah. We will see, because Jade is always seeing people from the past. He's
Yes.
seeing people from, that are wearing like old tiny clothes.
Yeah.
And this seems to be
Their area.
like colonial type time villages that they just stumbled upon. And we found like a mining operation from the 1800s, and it seems to just swallow little bits of towns.
Yeah.
And add them to the mix whenever they want to.
Roanoke.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But Roanoke, the town didn't disappear; the people did.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they came back and the whole establishment, was missing as well. Because then, I was thinking the same thing. Like, well, maybe it just takes the town. Maybe it's like the Langoliers, where it just swallows that bit of time, and time never really moves forward. It just is a stagnant moment in history, and it just steals that part of land. I don't know. Anyway, anything more?
Nope.
Okay. Next week we will try to get this up on Sunday.
We'll try.
We're gonna tell the kids
Yes.
this time, like, we got to watch this in the morning, because I think it drops early. I think it's like available a Sunday night at midnight, for all I know, or like Saturday night, when it turns midnight to Sunday. So if we could, we should watch it ASAP, and then we'll get the review up ASAP as well. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Adios.